Hello YouTube, today we're going to be talking about the new hunter that arrived in Solo Leveling Arise. It's been a couple days since the release, but with all the new updates I was trying to get a few artifacts before making the video. I still haven't been able to defeat every tier on the new dungeons and encore missions to get best artifacts for her, but let's try to at least give you a guidance on what you should be building her with and what skills to prioritize and what stats you want on your artifacts. New hunter Amamiya Mirei. She's a wind type hunter, the first non-custom banner hunter that's wind type, so it's important pickup if you're missing wind type hunters. The other two are not that good in comparison, and so if you're looking for a wind type hunter, she's going to be amazing, and she deals a ton of damage and is really fun to play. So let's see what she does. For skills, her basic attack is just straightforward attack scaling 3-stage attack like everyone else. Her core attack, she deals damage and a decent amount of damage with wind element. Now the most important part, her skills. First basic skill, she deals a decent amount of damage and deals wind damage. When the skill hits, it inflicts the airborne effect. When the user uses this skill, charge their power gauge by 15%. This is the first unit that has in their own kit power gauge acquisition, which means she's going to be using her ultimate a ton, since she's going to get 15% of her ult back whenever she uses this skill, so you're just limited by your own cooldowns by that point. Next we have her second basic skill. She also deals a decent amount of damage and deals wind damage. When skill hits, it knocks down the target. It's just a pure damage skill, no extra effects, but it deals a decent amount of damage. Then we have her special skills. When you're playing as Shin-Ho, she will deal a ton of damage, and when it hits, it knocks down the target, which is nice for some of Sang Jinwoo's skills, but no special abilities attached, just a ton of damage. When she enters the field, she deals decent damage, not the most damage of her skills, but still decent. Wind damage, and the most important is when this skill hits, it recovers 10% of their MP. This is also a new mechanic on hunters. I believe there's no hunter, at least SSR, that recovers the MP when he does anything, apart from Seo Jinwoo advancement. When she uses her core attack, she recovers, not core attack, when she has 3 training stacks, she recovers MP, but Mirei just needs to enter the field to recover MP, which is important because she's based on MP. All of her kit is based around MP, and that will also affect her artifact choices. Then her ultimate, the bread and butter of her kit. It also deals a decent amount of damage, and when you use the skill, it applies the possessed effect, and this is the most important part. When the user uses this skill, it removes all debuffs from all of their team members, which is a really good effect on her ultimate, since you want to be spamming the ultimate as much as possible. And when you tag out or you have 10% or less of the MP, it removes the effect. When you enter your ultimate, you get possessed, and while you're in the field and have more than 10% of your MP, you're going to be on the possessed state. If you tag out or you don't have any MP or mana, you exit the state. Why it's important to be on this state? First, when you use your ultimate, it resets the cooldowns of your 2 skills. So you have to use your skills before you ult, because you're getting them instantly back. And whenever you use your basic attack, you'll decrease the cooldown of your skills by 3 seconds. So you're going to be spamming your skills while you're in the ultimate state, so you want to be using as much attacks and skills as possible, and you also get the super armor during duration. You also deal damage proportional to 20% for each attack. They don't really say what you're scaling off here, but I'm going to believe it's 20% of your attack for each attack, or it's 20% additional damage for each attack, so 20% damage increase for each attack is what I'm going to assume this text means. but it's a bit weirdly worded, but I believe it's basically you have 20% damage increase for each attack and consumes 3% of the user's MP every 3 seconds, so you're consuming 1% of MP per second, which is important because, as you saw previously, when you have 10% or less MP you exit the state, so every second you're losing a bit of MP. The ultimate has a duration of 25 seconds, the state, not the ultimate, state has a duration of 25 seconds, so if you have MP and if you're using her, you have 25 seconds to use her in that state. And I'll tell you now, you want to be in that state. She deals massive amount of damage while she's on that state. The most time you can have her on the field, the better, because she's going to deal an enormous amount of damage. She's going to spam her skills constantly. The only thing you have to worry about is her MP, since you're going to run out really fast while you're dealing your damage, and she's consuming every second MP. But that's the ultimate and the most important part of her kit. She's basically use her skills: old skill, basic skill, basic skill, basic. You run out of MP, you switch. When you switch into her again, you gain MP back because of the special skill. Then you spam your skills again, and you ult again because of the fact that you recover 15% of your power gauge with the first skill. You're always with ultimate up. Now for her passive. When the user has 66% or more of their maximum MP, it applies the Kuroha's darkness effect. So while you're 66% or above, you have the Kuroha's darkness effect, and it also increases the user's attack by 4% for every additional 150 MP up to 40%. There's really no way to increase your MP, so you're just going to increase by 4% for the additional 150 MP that you have. But what's the Kuroha's darkness effect? Kuroha's darkness effect increases the damage of Kuroha's Sword Technique Type 3 Wings of Night and Kuroha's Sword Technique Type 4 Raven Sky by 30%. Those two are your basic skills. When whenever you're above 66% or more of your maximum MP, you're going to have 30% more damage on your skills. So as you can see, she's going to proc her skills constantly and deal massive amount of damage with a ton of damage increase effects on her kit. If you have the first advancement, which I did want to get because it's quite good, while the possessed effect is active, which is her ultimate. Whenever you use her ultimate and you enter the possessed effect, increase your critical hit rate and critical damage by 20%. So whenever you use your ultimate, you have 20% bonus crit rate, which is absurd since you're maxed out at 50% from artifacts. So with the first advancement, if you have 50% crit rate from stats, now you have 70% crit rate. And when you use your first basic skill, while the possessed effect is active, you also get Deep Darkness effect. Deep Darkness increases user's attack and critical hit rate by 12%, stacking up to 2 times for 10 seconds. So while you're on ultimate and use your first skill, you get 12% bonus attack and crit rate, so you go from 70% to 82%. And if you use the skill again before the 10 seconds pass, you get another 12%, so you were at 82, so you go to 94% crit rate. So just from her first advancement, you can get to almost 100% crit rate by using her skills. So if you're ever wondering if you want to go to an advancement, this is one of the best advancements you could have for her, and it's the least resource intensive advancement. It's the first advancement, so if you got lucky, you got her early, or if you got her twice in one pull, then you're going to have a ton of damage increase just because of this advancement. So that's it for her skills. Again, our most important one is her ultimate and her skills, since you're going to spam them a lot. The kitty skill, if you don't want to, you don't really need to level up, because it's going to be just once or twice per battle that you're going to use it when you switch to her, depending on how difficult the battle is, of course. Since she's going to be on the field a ton, you're basically going to switch a low amount of times. You're going to switch characters or hunters like 3 times, not most, since she's going to be on the field a ton, so it's not really worth it to increase her damage from her tagging skill. So you can hold on that. the special skill is always worth it for Sung Jin-Ho when you're playing as Sung Jin-Ho if you're going to use her, because you're going against a wind weak enemy. As you can see, the multiplier is huge, so the more you level it up, the better. And you have a free level up as already from her own kit. She at least starts with level 2 on the special skill, so you can get to a higher level of levels with less resources from for Sung Jin-Ho. Then the first two basic skills. In terms of damage, I think they have the same multipliers. As you can see, if I level up the second skill to level 7, it's the same multiplier. Just level them up both at the same time, and that's going to be almost the way you deal the damage will be from your skills, so you want to get both to as higher as you possibly can. Our basic attack you're going to use a lot, but it's also fast, so you don't need to level them up as much. You're going to deal most damage from basic skills, as I said, so it's just to reset your cooldowns that you're basic attacking, so you can level them up a bit. Now for artifacts. For artifacts, I would say, depending on if you can clear the new in-core dungeon and the instance dungeon, you can use some artifacts from the new level 70 and above artifacts, or you can use the ones from the Workshop of Brilliant Light. I'm currently using a 4 set from the Workshop of Brilliant Light, because and it's the Burning Curse. I think I'm going to use the 8th set if I can. If not, maybe I'll use a 2-piece with a 4-piece accessory and another 2-piece artifact set. You can use the 4-piece set on Curse, but it's not really worth it since it only gives you HP, doesn't give you anything else. So basically having a 2-piece set or a 4-piece set is the same in terms of damage. The 4 set just gives you a fail-safe. If you're going to get killed, she recovers 25% of their HP, so it's worth it for that, but it's not worth it for damage. Then the 8th piece of the curse is going to be amazing because it increases your damage by 50%. It might be worth it to go for the 8 set effect, I believe. And if you're not going for the Workshop of Brilliant Light and you're going for the Instance Dungeon set, then you can use Toughness set. It increases your crit rate by 8% and crit damage by 32%. As you can see, you can get to almost 100% with your stats plus the first advancement. So if you have the 2 set effect from toughness, you're basically 100% guaranteed to crit, and then you can crit damage. You can get your crit damage up and guarantee that you're constantly critting. Then you have the armed set. Increase your attack and your defense. Ignores the defense of your opponent by 15% and increase your attack by 5, which is also always good in attack scaling units. So it's another set you can consider. Since she uses the ultimate a lot, you can use the 1-hit kill set because of the cooldown decrease. As you can see, you can get her cooldown back really fast. Her power gauge really fast. So if you go for the 4th set effect on 1-hit kill and reduce the ultimate's cooldown, you can basically spam her ultimate and be on the possessed effect as much as possible. I would say probably a good choice if you're going for a main DPS Mirei. Just use her as much as possible. When you run out of mana, you switch to your healer, support or breaker if you're going against a breaker opponent. A boss with the shield, you can use her skill and switch to a breaker to break the shield, and then switch to a support to get the buffs ready, and then switch to her again. If you're not going against a boss with a shield, you can use two supports to increase her damage as much as possible and just switch to her. Use her skills, ultimate skills, basic skill, spammer damage. Once you run out of mana or you're almost running out of mana, you switch to your supports, do the buffs again, switch into her again. You should have your cooldown up and your power gauge up as well. Get that 10% MP back from her tagging skill and go again. It's probably going to be the best one besides Shine to be the solo carry and use with a ton of field time. She requires you to have a ton of skill field time. So this is a good set if you're going for that style. You have the hot summer sunglasses. There's an interesting thing. They're different from toughness set, so you can use both at the same time and get the two set effect twice. So if you want as much crit rate as possible on a unit, she doesn't really need it if you have the first advancement, but if you don't, you can use this. You can use both toughness 2 set and hot summer 2 set to get 16% crit rate and ignore the crit damage if you're really lacking crit rate. It's interesting that they made the exact same set but with another name, so right now you can use the 2 set effect twice, which is amazing. So it's a good way to increase your crit rate. Then you have the level 70, then you have the new set, the Warmonger set. You can only obtain this, I believe, with the new instance dungeons, and I think it's instance dungeon or in core mission, don't remember which one is the one for the artifacts and not accessories, but this one is also decent for her because it increases her attack by 4% and the force set effect. When you hit when your attacks hit, they increase your attack and defense by 3% for 6 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. So it increases your attack by 24% on the first set, plus the 4% from the 2 set effect, getting you to 28% bonus attack. And for artifacts, I think these are the best ones to use for her. Now let's see for accessories. For accessories, you have a new accessory set, basically made for her, with its outstanding ability. When the user has 70% or more of their MP, their damage dealt increases by 10%. She's a unit that wants to have a lot of damage, and she's based on MP, so the 2 set might not be best for her since she's going to run out of MP really fast, but for set effect is worth it. The damage dealt increase effect potency increases to 25%, and this effect now triggers when the user is at 40% of more of their maximum MP. So the threshold goes from 70% to 40%, so it's less than, when you have less than half of your MP, you lose the effect, but while you have 40% or more, your damage dealt increase effect potency increases to 25%, and this effect now triggers. So you have 25% more damage dealt, and you only lose that at 40% or less of your maximum MP, which means you're going to have a ton of damage increase from your stats and from this set. So you're dealing 25% more damage. This is universal. Damage dealt doesn't depend on what you scale off. You can scale on attack, HP or defense, that you can still use this effect, so this is going to be the most general set that we have right now, since it doesn't care about what type you scale off. If you're going for if you care about a set that is generic for everyone, you can farm the outstanding ability set and use on every character, since it doesn't care about what you scale off. Then you have Sylph's Blessing. This is more for supports, but you can also use on her because of the fact that when you use your ultimate skill, it increases your damage to elemental weakness by 5%, and the first set it stacks 3 times, so it's 15% more damage against type weakness bosses. So this set is good for a type advantage, so if you're going for a fight with hunters that have type advantage, you can use this set. So basically they're both universal. One is universal for everything, the other one is more for is universal in the case that you always go with the type advantage in your fights. If you use units that don't have type advantage, then it's useless to use this set, but if you have type advantage, you can always use this set. Apart from that, it's the usual attack percent set, the expert set, that increases your attack whenever you crit, which is one of the best ones, and a champion on the field that increases your attack by 5% for 4 seconds when you crit, with a maximum of 20% attack increase. You can also use Executioner. When you attack an enemy with 17% or less HP, you deal 20% more damage as well. But again, the new set that increases 25% if you have 40% or more MP, it's better than the previous one because it's 5% more damage dealt increase. And that's it for the sets. in terms of stats, main stats, you want attack percent with the bracelet being either win damage or now you can get damage increase, so it's worth it, especially for Sung Jin-woo. It might be worth to have damage increase since you're using him against every type of weakness there is, so it's useless to have more than one. You basically have to farm one artifact for every element to use on Sung Jin-woo if you're going to switch the types every time you're going against a different type weakness boss. So damage increase is going to be the best for Sung Jin-woo, but for her, either win damage or damage increase are both good. Damage increase is better if you're going against non-wind weakness bosses. It's basically an overall buff for hunters having damage increase as main stat, but if you're going against the type that you're strong, in this case wind type weakness bosses, you want the wind damage bonus on the bracelet. For the ring you want attack percent, and for substats and for the boots critical hit damage. For substats it's the usual suspects: crit rate on the armor set and the crit damage on the accessory set, with attack percent, additional attack, defense penetration, damage increase, substats, as much of those as you can get. And that's pretty much how to build the attack percent units. And yeah, that's going to be her build. Her weapon is the one that you can get from the event, and you can craft her, so there's no point in using anything else. And that's going to be the build for Mirei. She's a really fun hunter to use. You're constantly spamming skills and dealing tons of damage. She also has cool animations, so it's a worth hunter to get, and I'm really enjoying using the Mirei. And that's going to be the guide. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.